Hello, we are pixelpolish, and my name's David.
And I'm Earl.
We thought it would be cool to have a UI manipulation tool that could run from inside the IDE, where you can use an AI agent to modify your UI in the way you want it, and then have those changes immediately be applied by another AI agent like Cursor.
Yeah, so let's go and get to the demo. So we're all familiar with Cursor. Cursor is a really nice IDE, agentic IDE that allows you to manipulate code, but sometimes you just really want to focus on the UI, and the visual experience is missing from this IDE that's very common to developers, but not so much to designers and other people that are more focused on the presentation of a design. So what we built was an MCP server that allows you or any other person who has a client like Cursor or Klein or even Cloud Code to actually run this. So let's begin. So all you have to do is make sure that you go to your MCP servers, you add pixelpolish to your servers. Once you've added pixelpolish, you can then go to and create a chat. And let's say you have an HTML website that you want to run. So you can just say, hey, pixelpolish, can you start the server, please? So right now we have Cursor that's understanding the rules of how to run with pixelpolish. It figures out how to run your server in the first place. So right now it's generating a server. Once it generates the server, it actually calls our MCP tool to actually run this. So I'll give it back to David.
Yeah, so here we have our nice UI, and this is the website that we're hosting, right? Our target website, the landing page that we're working on in this case. So we created like this example landing page for pixelpolish in this case. And then, yeah, let's say we want to modify this text. So I can just tell my AI assistant right here, please change this text to red and make it bold and italic and add rocket emojis. And then it's going to process the request. And then there we go. We have what we wanted. Or we can say, make the background color of the button blue. And then there we go. That's what we have. So these are kind of some examples of what you can do with this. And then you can just make a lot of edits, or you can also just do it manually if you'd like to. And then there's a lot of things that you can do with this UI. And then you can submit your changes if you want by clicking the submit button, which will submit them back to Cursor, which will then make the changes for you in the actual code.
So let's take a look. So if we go back to Cursor, you can see we already got a request back from our API. And you can see right now that Cursor is on the job now, working on the changes that you've made on our UI, on our pixelpolish UI. So let's take a look. So you can see we got a request, we got a bunch of changes that you were making. And then Cursor Cloud right now is working quite hard to understand what are the changes that are required to actually make the modifications in your code.
Yeah. Which is done by sending a very detailed JSON of the changes that we made using MCP from the pixelpolish UI that we just worked on.
So now you can see that Claude has changed some of the CSS.
So you can see what it did. It made it bold and italic and added the rocket emojis, for example, and essentially did what the changes that we wanted to make.
So to verify, let's go to the actual site. And there you go. You can see that our application made the modifications and changes required to actually make this work.
Okay, that was our demo. Thank you.
Thanks.